The Dominican Republic, being a small country, highly populated, however, has had a great influence in world music in general, especially through two genres that probably you all know, which are bachata and merengue, or in historical order, merengue and bachata. Merengue became very popular in the late 50s, early 60s. Then, for a few decades, disappeared of the international attention and came back again in the 90s and never stopped. Merengue is very popular for the same reasons that cha-cha-cha got popular at some point. It's very lively, has a very appealing type of groove, and at the same time, because it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, it's easy to dance. At least you can dance a little bit of merengue or a little bit cha-cha-cha the first day. In 20 minutes, half an hour, just watching the other couples, you can dance a little cha-cha-cha or a little merengue. Dancing merengue as the Dominicans do, or dancing cha-cha-cha as the Cubans do, it's a different thing. But at least you can enjoy going to a club and dancing merengue the first day. Merengue was born from a process that we already know. It's the merge between folk music brought from Spain and folk music from Africa. It's all the countryside Spanish music mixed with the traditions brought from Africa. And when you listen, even modern merengue, the roots are very apparent. Also, you are going to learn in this class that merengue didn't start as we know it now. Merengue started in a much more simple way, in a much more humble way, and still in that very traditional merengue, all the elements of the modern commercial merengue are present. The other very important Dominican genre is the bachata. And of course, everybody knows Romeo Santos or Grupo Aventura or some other of the very popular modern contemporary bachata players. But bachata also started in a way that we already saw. It's very similar to the inception of the bolero or the traditional Cuban son music or the Mexican son music, music that was essentially peasants' music, folk, rural music, guitar music that developed for hundreds of years in the countryside of the Dominican Republic. By the late 50s, it started to be trendy in some blue-collar, let's say, milieu, essentially as dancing, guitar music, club music, and little by little, bachata was finding a new audience, finding a place. Bachata has been very popular in the Dominican Republic for a long time. It was not until the late 90s when Grupo Ventura started marketing bachata to a second and third generation type of population in the United States, not in the Dominican Republic, and then a new moment of the bachata started. In the middle, there was a moment in the mid-80s when Juan Luis Guerra brought both merengue and bachata to the attention of the world. Really, Juan Luis Guerra in the early 80s became so popular that was competing with Michael Jackson or with Madonna, and sometimes defeating them. You could go to Japan or to Berlin at that time, and in the discos, in the middle of all the pop music and techno music, at some point they would stop and play Burbujas de Amor by Juan Luis Guerra and some other of his tunes. Let me show again this instrument that we saw before. In this case, it's called marimbula. Is this instrument that in Mexico is called marimbol, that we saw because it's being used in son jarocho. Also in the Caribbean is used, and when you watch the videos of traditional merengue, you are going to see the musicians using an instrument exactly like this one to play the bass. They use, instead of a bass, in the traditional merengue, this is what they use. In Puerto Rico, there are three genres that we would like to cover. One is the música jíbara. The música jíbara is peasants' music, is rural country music, especially from the central area of the island. That music features the cuatro, and I'm going to show the cuatro to you shortly. This is music that comes from the Spanish folk music from the 16th and 17th century, adopted and changed in Puerto Rico in the same way that música guajira, guitar music, guitar-like music evolved in Cuba, or like we saw the son music evolving in central Mexico. In the same way, the Jíbaro music evolved from Spanish folk into what we know as this genre in the contemporary style. The other two genres that we want to mention are the Plena and the bomba. And those are genres with African roots versus música guajira that has mostly Spanish roots. We saw before, talking about the evolution of Afro-Cuban music, how congas evolved from barrels. Barrels were available everywhere. That's why still today in bomba music, the drums are called barriles. That means literally barrels. Santurce, not far away from San Juan, Puerto Rico, is the epicenter of the bomba music in Puerto Rico. It's a very African genre, very well kept. The evolution of bomba is parallel to the evolution of Afro-Cuban music, as we saw it, like rumba, traditional rumba, for example, or parallel to the evolution of Afro-Brazilian percussion music, and parallel also to this evolution in Puerto Rico happened something so special as the plena. Plena is music played with tambourines. It's probably the only music in the Americas that is mostly based in the panderos, these big tambourines. It's also vocal music with a strong African influence. It's music that is used for many different purposes. It's music that always occupied some type of social function, for example, as a protest in political rallies in Puerto Rico for different causes. The pleneras, the ladies that sing La Plena, they come and they improvise verses and lyrics about the issue that is at stake at the time, and that those rhymes are accompanied by the sound of the plena. Plena, bomba, música jíbara, those are some of the trademarks of the Puerto Rican music. We talk about the música jíbara, and this is the main instrument for música jíbara, the cuatro. When we were talking about Spain and the evolution of Spanish music, we talk about the oud and how the oud evolved into a lute. The name of a lute in Spanish is laúd. Well, the cuatro is a lute. It's a skinny lute. It's a, let's say, soprano member of the lute family, but the cuatro is a lute. That means that lute that we saw in Spain in the 16th, 17th centuries is still alive and well in the Puerto Rican Jíbaro music. The cuatro, in this case, is a modern cuatro with electroacoustic capabilities. You plug it here and you manipulate volume and bright from here. And it's a double string instrument, and you can see the sound is has the depth that the double string instruments have. There's a peculiarity of the double string instruments. And this is a beautiful cuatro.